welcome to A Cat in the Garden. I don't know if you can hear her, but Luna's actually purring really loudly right now. She's so cute. I feel like I haven't had her with me for a video in a while. She just doesn't curl up the same way Nutmeg does. Just like aesthetically, sometimes it looks awkward. And she is a bit older, so she's slower to move, and sometimes she's just napping. She just loves to nap. So I feel like I don't show her off that much, but she's such a good girl. Honestly, if I had to describe the perfect house cat, it would be Luna. She is so sweet. She sleeps. She gets these little cute bursts of energy. She is the first one to greet guests when they come over, but she's just overall such a sweet girl. And she's just gonna be hanging out with me today. She might be hanging out in my lap. She might run off to the couch and nap for the duration of this video, but that's just what my girl does. So I'm gonna let her do whatever makes her the happiest. But if you saw the title of this video, these are going to be my 5 favorite houseplants for the month of March. And we're gonna start off with a plant that I have not shown off on this channel before. And I can't believe that I haven't shown it off because I've owned it for basically a year now. So this one, it's like not the most stable. I need to get it like a stake or something. This is my Hoya carnosa Suzie Q. I love this plant. It reminds me of a crinkle 8, but with the Crimson Queen coloring on it. It is very cute. It did come unrooted. Unfortunately, has taken a long time to get to this point. It's grown 5 leaves in my care, I think. 4 or 5. Yeah, I think 5. It just had to be in a prop box until about a month ago. So I did forget about it for a while there, but it is very nicely rooted and established now. It's a lot of green just because there's a lot of light in the prop box, but it did take a while. So that was a bit more unfortunate, and it is very wobbly. The main stem is super woody. I'm really hoping I can get this to vine at some point so I can maybe cut it, make a fuller plant, you know, just make it look better. But I love the leaves. I just aesthetically, each leaf is really nice. I just wish as a plant itself it was better, but it is in a much better spot now than it was. I did move it to the Hoya cabinet right here, and it has been loving life recently, so that is all positive. This plant is on the up and I really like it. It was a birthday gift from my sweet husband, so it does hold a special place there just because he tries so hard with plants to get me ones that are on my wish list or ones that I've talked about. He'll try and like write it down in a note on his phone. And this one just came in not the best condition, so he felt really bad about that, but I made it live. I made it live. Whenever he gets me a plant and it's just not the best quality, I try so hard to make it live just because I know it came from him. So this is no exception. I feel like it's happened a lot with plants from my husband, and he doesn't do it on purpose. He just doesn't know what to look for. He just goes on Etsy and it's like, okay, this is a plant that she wants, I'm just gonna buy it. So no fault of his. He really does try his best, and I'm very grateful that he is so attentive and he listens and he's so thoughtful with his gifts for me. So I am just very happy that I could get this into a much better place where I'm happy to show it off now and it doesn't have to live in a prop box, and I can finally show it off to you all because, like I said, I've owned it for almost a year and I've never shown it off anywhere. I don't even think it's on my Instagram yet, so maybe that'll change because it's looking a lot fuller than it used to be. It's looking a lot better, so it's on the up, and that's why it's on the list for this month. The next plant is one I have not shown off in a while, and that is going to be my gorgeous Philodendron White Wizard. This plant is just the only one of the Philodendron royal family that I have left that is so unproblematic. The variegation is so well balanced. This is like a better way to look at it because the leaves do face a grow light above it. It'll put out high variegation leaves like this one sometimes, but it'll balance it out like this was the next leaf. And the leaves are slowly sizing up on this plant, which is very hard for me to do with the Philodendron royal family. The like official name of these is Philodendron erubescens, I believe. and they're all just like upright philodendrons. So technically I think the subhassatum is part of that family as well, but that one grows a lot better for me than most of the royal family does. Pink Princess is a complete disaster for me. I've started over my White Knight and my my White Princess. So they're all in prop boxes right now. This is the only one that I only ever took one cutting from it when I first got it. And ever since, I've just let it grow. And that is definitely one of the keys to getting your plant to size up, is don't cut it. Just leave it alone, give it a support, and it will reward you kindly. I honestly left this plant alone for quite a few months because I do have to put it in the back of the cabinet here. Otherwise it gets sunburned like this leaf right here, and that's not very cute. So it does get forgotten about sometimes, but I just sort of took all the plants out of there recently to do some deep cleaning, and I was like, wow, it's doing so well. I am so proud of this plant. It's just gorgeous, and it is by far my favorite one in the Philodendron royal family. I don't really know why, I don't have a specific reason. I just love this plant in particular, and it's doing great for me, so I wanted to give it a special shout out here. It is a little thirsty right now. I need to refill the moss pole with water, which I will do after this video. Every time I film this kind of video, it's just a reminder to me that I have some houseplants that I always have to water. And moss poles, always, they dry out so fast for me. So I'll get that done. I do also need to get this more secure to the pole, just because I have neglected it for a few months. I didn't realize that it was growing away from the pole, but there's still a lot of roots going into the pole, so it's not like it's completely detached, but we're just gonna make that better, and I think that will help the leaves size up better as well. So all around, I'm just really happy with this plant. I love it so much. It is so cute, and it's never not gonna be one of my favorites in my collection. For some reason, just philodendron, they do so well for me if I just give them a pole and let them do their thing. They do so well. My Rio, my Splendid over there, they're doing great. The subhassatum is doing great. And of course, my White Wizard. So this will never not be a favorite in my collection. And I feel like it's been too long since it's been on this list. So I'm happy it's making a comeback into my favorites list. The next plant on my list is solely for the new leaf that it's put out, which is gorgeous. It is stunning. And that is my Anthurium Zara Michelle crossed with Doc Block F2. I mean, that leaf! Oh my gosh. Guys, that leaf. It's huge. Here's my hand for reference. Here's my head for reference. Not quite as big as my head, but my hand. It's pretty big. And for like scale, this is the next newest leaf. I know some of the old leaves look kind of brown, but I mean, it's a little smaller. I feel like it's still growing though. Every day it seems like it's bigger, and that is because I have been watering this plant and I have been keeping it well fertilized. Right before this leaf came out, I put in a new batch of fertilizer into it. It is a slow release 6-month fertilizer. It had used up all of the last batch and was definitely in need of some more, and it is rewarding me kindly. I mean, that leaf, guys, that leaf. It's so cute. It's so cute. My husband really loves the thick silvery veins on Anthurium, and he also really likes when there's a reddish or purple emergent leaf. So whenever we go to Wild Roots, which is where I got this, it's in New Braunfels, he encourages me to buy an Anthurium with thick silvery veins and with reddish emergent leaves. And so of course this fits all of the boxes for him. And if he's encouraging me to buy a plant, I'm gonna buy it, because normally he's telling me to stop buying plants. So I am all for making him happy and making me happy, because I really like Anthurium. I've been getting more and more of them. I've been getting so much better with their care, though I don't really mind the browning too much. Like, it's not the end of the world, but I'm making sure that they're happier, they're healthier. This one does have a stake, just because the one thing I don't like about this plant, the petiole to leaf ratio is atrocious. I mean, that is too long. That is awful. It does reach, because I have it next to this, so a lot of times the new leaves will like curl around and reach toward this. I guess I could fix it if I had a light like on top of it or something, but I find that if I put these near any sort of grow light at all, they just burn. so I don't really do that. If I keep it outside of these cabinets, then there's just enough light, but it's far away. So I don't know if I can fix this just terrible ratio right here, but I don't know. I still love it. I still love it. It's so cute. So of course it's going to be on my favorites for this month. And there are a lot of new Anthurium leaves growing in my collection, and I love all of them. So I feel like every single video like this is going to feature an Anthurium as long as they're growing, because I don't know how people say they don't like Anthurium, because that leaf is absolute perfection. So it's gonna be a favorite. I feel like because I got so many plants this month, I had to feature a new one. And of course, it's going to be the Hoya Batcave from Sam's Hoyas. There is nothing new to report on this plant. I just want to show it off because it's so pretty. Look at this splash. I love it. This leaf is starting to harden off. I've watered it once or twice. It does need water again, but the roots are crazy. They're so good. I can't believe like these are sold as cuttings, because these roots are immaculate. Everything about this plant is perfect. It is perfection in a Hoya. The leaves get really big, they're veiny, they're splashy, they're thick. The name is so cool. Sometimes with Hoyas, I just really like the name, and that's what gets me into the plant. This was one of them, but I just also really happen to love the foliage too. So I'm just all around, I'm so happy with this plant. Every time I come in here, I'm like, okay, how's the little Batcave doing? Even though it's done nothing, absolutely nothing, it still brings me so much joy. And that's what plants should do. Like, you should be really excited about the plants that you have. And that's sort of how I know maybe it's time to move on from a plant, because I don't get excited about it at all. Where this plant, I get so excited. I get so excited about the Anthurium. I get so excited about every single plant up there, because they're all amazing. Those kinds of things, you know, my variegated spiral ginger, but this is definitely going to be one of those. I have a feeling that I'm just going to love forever, no matter what. It's going to be a favorite. I really hope that the growth point gives me a vine so I can get this baby on a trellis and just living its best life. I will put it in the most prime real estate in this entire room, because this plant deserves it, let me tell you. So fingers crossed that we'll get some growth soon. I know I just got it not too long ago, so I'm gonna try to be patient with it. Maybe I'll give it some fertilizer, but it's gonna stay a favorite for sure. Finally, the last plant on my list is going to be my big, beautiful Monstera albo. It does not even fit in the frame anymore. I feel like I have to lean way back to get it in here. And I did want to highlight one thing as to why this plant is one of my favorites this month, and that is going to be the brand new leaf right here. So we already have a second fenestration, whereas it took 2 years. Yeah, 2 years. I got this plant in October 2021. So it took 2 years to put out a fenestrated leaf here, and this leaf is just amazing. It's even a little minty, which is cool. And then it put out another one, a little bit lower variegation, but I don't mind. And then the next leaf had 2, and this leaf is gorgeous, okay? We've got some sectoral variegation going on. We've got marbly variegation, little half moon vibes. This plant has always had some half moon vibes going on, and it'll alternate the kinds of leaves that come out of it a lot of the time. Like, some will be lower, some will be higher. A lot of the half moon green, just what it likes to do, but it's such a pretty plant. It's so easygoing. It is obviously a little thirsty right now, but I will take care of that after I'm done filming. I just didn't want it dripping water while I'm manhandling it a bit. It has also almost outgrown this pole right here, which has me nervous. I think my husband offered to make me a new one of these. I got it from Wild Roots. It has worked really well for both of my bigger albos. I did recently get an albo cutting, so I'll be able to pass the torch with this one onto that albo cutting once it starts growing. But I really like this style pole for the Monstera specifically. I don't really worry about them rooting into it at all, just because they get so big. Like, I'm not gonna waste my money on the plastic moss pole extensions when I can just do this. It works well enough, and the roots do go into it a little bit, just not as much as a moss pole. And with this, I believe this is a small form albo, so I'm never going to get those giant leaves. So this works. It does the trick. I like the look. I think it gives a nice jungle vibe, and this plant is just doing so well. Oh, I love it so much. So this one is just usually chilling in the corner over here, and it's so low maintenance. If you don't have a Monstera albo at this point, the prices are coming down. I would highly recommend one. They're a great plant to have in the collection. For me, it does not mind a little bit of underwatering. The leaves get kind of thin, but they're forgiving. They're very forgiving. If you do get a cutting, they're not as forgiving, but I've gotten most of mine as either rooted cuttings or established plants. So they just do really well. They're not the fastest growers in the world, but they're not the slowest either. So I feel like you just get the best of everything with this plant. And if you get one that has very stable variegation, it's going to reward you kindly. Mine does not have the highest variegation in the world, I know that, but it typically has around 30%. And I think that is the sweet spot with variegation because I never have to worry about browning. Like, I don't have any leaves on this entire plant that have browning. So that is another perk. Yeah, not a single leaf, none of them. So that's another perk because I have lower humidity in this room. The more white or more yellow, any kind of variegation on the plant, the more likely it is going to be to brown. So something that is on the lower end like this works really well for me, but it still has enough that it will put out really flashy leaves like this one every once in a while and just remind me how much I love it. So obviously I had to show it off today because this plant is in my top 5 plants in my entire collection, hands down. So I feel like it was about time I featured it again. All right, that is it for my top 5 favorite plants for the month of March. I can't believe it's over already. March went by so fast. I feel like this year is going by so fast. And Luna, of course, she sat on the couch over there and just stared at me the whole time. She was like, oh, why aren't you petting me right now? So I'm going to give her all the pets, all the love. She's been actually really needy this week. Sometimes she gets like that. Sometimes she's like, I just want a nap all day and I don't really want anything to do with you. And then other times she's like, I need you to pet me right now or I'm gonna meow really cutely. Like she is the cutest, softest little meow. She's never obnoxious. So whenever she's like, hey, I need attention, I always want to give it to her. So, oh, she's being so cute right now. You're such a good girl. But thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, make sure to give Luna and I here a thumbs up down below and subscribe so you don't miss anything from us here on the channel. Thanks again so much for watching, and we will catch you in the next one.